Welcome into Texans Today. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs. And before we get started today, I need your help. Last week, we won the like battle against the Browns, and the Ravens, they've thrown the gauntlet. So don't jinx it. Like today's video. If we can get 1,000 likes, I feel like we're going to bury the Ravens and that channel in the like battle this week. Help me out. Don't jinx it. Like the video if you believe in this team. If you believe in D'Amico Ryans and quarterback C.J. Stroud, go down and like today's video. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Texans Today. I have a jam-packed show for y'all. We have Texans and Ravens, the key injuries that you need to keep an eye out on this week. Plus, at the back half of today's show, I've got Texans keys to victory on Saturday. You don't want to miss out, so let's get right into the nitty-gritty. If you saw my short that I posted yesterday, Noah Brown moved to IR, yet another injury to this Texans wide receiver room. Noah Brown, he's been dealing with that back issue, tried to give it a go against the Browns, and obviously was not able to get through it. He has been moved to IR along with Tank Dell. So we're looking at Nico Collins, Robert Woods, John Mechie, Xavier Hutchinson, and Steven Sims moved up to the active roster, somebody who's been on the active roster to the practice squad multiple times throughout the season. Steven Sims has been moved up to replace the injury with Noah Brown. So, quick question for everybody out there, because I really think it comes down to these two guys right here and who is able to step up more against the Baltimore Ravens. John Mechie III and Xavier Hutchinson. Now, John Mechie had a great game against the Browns, had a couple of runs, 4 catches, really looked good, finally came out of his shell a little bit against the Browns. Will he be able to do it again? I don't know. Let me know who you think is going to be more impactful this Saturday. You think it's John Mechie III type Mech in the comment section. If you think it's Xavier Hutchinson type Hutch, down below. Next up, Jerry Hughes. He did not practice on Tuesday, dealing with his injuries. Another guy on the defensive line, along with Jonathan Greenard, who was limited at practice, but we saw him and Will Anderson. They were injured in that Browns game, hobbled throughout the game. They're trying to play it safe. D'Amico Ryans a former player. I think this is where he kind of has, a leg up on other coaches. A former player, recently played in the NFL. He knows about these injuries and the timetables it takes to return from them. So Jonathan Greenard, they're playing it easy with him. And then also Laremy Tunsil, the star left tackle. They're trying to play it safe. They're trying to make sure, hey, we want Tunsil to be as close to 100% on Saturday as he can be. So Tunsil taking a rest day on Tuesday to kind of try to heal up a little self-care day, if you do say so. Now let's go over across enemy lines to the Ravens injury report. Mark Andrews coming off IR with that ankle injury he suffered in Week 11. So should be interesting to see whether or not he'll be able to go and if he'll be on a snap count. Isaiah Likely has kind of stepped in pretty admirably for Andrews throughout the back half of this season for the Ravens. But Mark Andrews, when healthy, is one of the best tight ends in the NFL. So I'll be keeping a close eye on Mark Andrews. He did return to practice today, but is questionable to return coming off IR with that injury. Kevin Zeitler, Marlon Humphrey, Kyle Hamilton, Geno Stone, all questionable with knee injuries. Malik Harrison, the linebacker, questionable with a groin injury. Zay Flowers with that calf injury. Delshon Phillips is questionable with a shoulder. And Brent Urban, the defensive end, has a concussion in concussion protocol currently. He is questionable to return. And coming up, after all those injuries, after all the news of today, I'm going to give you my opinion for the Texans' keys to victory this Saturday. What do the Texans have to do to pull out a victory and keep this Cinderella run going? I'll let you know coming up in just a moment. But first, got to show some love to Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100, ladies and gentlemen. Prize Picks is daily fantasy sports made easy. You just pick 2 or more players, choose more or less on their projected stat types, and place your entry easy as that. Testing my skills on Prize Picks this football season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. And here are my picks for this Saturday. Devin Singletary rush yards, give me the more on 54.5. Dalton Schultz receiving yards, give me the more on 36.5. Ka'imi Fairbairn, 5.5 kicking points. I think he'll get more than that. I think this might be a little bit more of a high-scoring game than people think. Give me the more on 5.5 right there, and give me the more on C.J. Stroud, combined passing and rushing yards at 257.5. You can use my picks. You can fade my picks. Just do it over at Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. Now, one of the keys to victory, I think, for the Texans, which a lot of the times you win the toss, you want to defer to the second half. You want to maybe play that game late in the second quarter of scoring and getting the ball back to start the second half. For the Texans, I would want to receive first. I was talking with a couple of the other guys here at the Chat Sports office, and the more I talked about it, the more it made sense to try to get on the board first if you're the Houston Texans. The Ravens are a type of team that relies on their running game. They're a team that once they get ahead, they're going to keep that lead. So how do you counteract that? You try to get on the board first if you're the Houston Texans. You try to score. If you win the coin toss, you try to receive, get that ball first, get some points up on the board. I think that could be a huge key for the Texans because it kind of takes the Ravens out of their normal rhythm on offense because they're used to playing with the lead. They're used, being ahead in the game. I think if the Texans can get out to a lead early, maybe get on the board first, score a couple times, get a two-possession lead early, that could be huge for the Houston Texans in this game. Another key to victory, don't abandon the run game. I mean, they didn't do it against the Browns, and it worked out. Some of the best plays for C.J. Stroud was in play action. That 75-yard receiving touchdown for Brevin Jordan off of play action. The nice throw from C.J. Stroud to Dalton Schultz off of play action. I mean, hey, even the little, screen pass to Nico Collins that was the touchdown, that was off of a play action, a little read option to Nico. So I say don't abandon the run because you absolutely need it to facilitate the play action and the passing game. And Devin Singletary has been fantastic this year whenever he's gotten enough carries to do so. I mean, almost 900 yards, 216 carries on the year. You got to feed the man, Devin Singletary. We saw he was able to break off a nice run at the end of that Browns game for a touchdown. Keep up with the run game. I know a lot of people say, hey, it's not working. Abandon it. Go away from it. I don't think so. The Ravens have a good run defense. And don't get me wrong. They're going to stop you on 1st and 10, maybe on some downs when you try to run the ball. You're going to get maybe 1-2 yards. Keep at it. Keep chipping it away. Keep chipping it away because overall it helps. One, makes you less predictable on offense. They can't just drop everybody back into coverage. And two, it really helps the play action and C.J. Stroud. I think he does a lot better coming off that. Play action, rolling out and looking downfield. That's where he's really dangerous in this offense. Next key to victory, you got to take your chances on the deep ball. And the reason I say this is because whenever I was looking at the Ravens, kind of scouting them, they are the best team in the NFL defensively when it comes into red zone defense. They're first, second best, right there at the very top of the NFL. Texans, they're 16th in red zone offense. So I think the Texans can maybe exploit that by trying to get some deep touchdowns like they did against the Browns. Try to get maybe a 30-yard touchdown, a 40-yard touchdown. Throw the deep ball. It's worked with Nico Collins. Nico Collins and C.J. Stroud, that connection has been sensational this year. So if you continue to take those deep shots as well, that opens up the running game. It opens up those running lanes because the safeties, they can't crowd the box. They got to get back because they're worried about Nico Collins, maybe John Mechie on a deep ball. So you got to continue to attack the defense, multifaceted in the run game, and then also take those deep shots. I think that could be very well suited for C.J. Stroud in this game. And speaking of C.J. Stroud, and speaking of our sponsor, Prize Picks, I want you to play Prize Picks with me. I didn't necessarily take this because I wanted to ask you folks at home what you would do. Are you going more or less than 245.5 pass yards for C.J. Stroud? Type M for more, type L for less. Really interested what you have to say. And if you're like, this is a lot of fun, I want to, do this. I want to be able to make money off of doing this. Go do it over at PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, code CLNS, and get started today. Before the playoff game, maybe put a little bit of money down, watch your Texans win, and win some money at the same time. It's a win-win. Now, going to my next key to victory, you got to stop the run early because that is what the Ravens do best. Their running game is where their offense is predicated. They are the number one rushing attack in the NFL in terms of rushing yards per game. So you got to take that away from them. Whenever you're in playoff mode, whenever you're in playoff football, your objective is to take away what the other team does best. Same with the other side. So if you're able to stop the run, stop Lamar Jackson, stop Gus Edwards, stop that Ravens rushing attack, that could mean that this Texans defense gets off the field more often, forces more second and long, third and long, and get off the field more to give your offense more opportunities to score the football. And along with that, this kind of goes with stopping the run early. You got to contain Lamar Jackson. The Texans actually even though they lost in week 1, did a fantastic job defending Lamar Jackson. I mean, they forced an interception, forced a couple fumbles, a couple sacks. Lamar Jackson under 170 passing yards against the Houston Texans in week 1, even though the Texans weren't able to get that dub. They still played Lamar Jackson very well. So if you're able to keep him in the pocket, if you're able to keep him, inside the numbers, don't let him bust off a couple runs, don't let him get into open space, I think this Texans team can win this ball game. I'm picking the Texans to win this week, and these are the 5 ways I think that they'll be able to do it. Now, that's all I have for you on today's show. I appreciate everybody for watching, tuning in. Go follow me on Twitter if you haven't already, at Jeremy Chuggs, for more Texans news and rumors, the dankest memes on the internet. Go follow me there. And as always, go hit that sub button. Join the channel. We just passed 9K subs. Can we get to 10K before our watch party this Saturday? Help me out. Help a kid from Houston. I'm from H-Town, 281-713. Throw it up. Go hit that sub button for a real Houstonian, for a real Houston kid. Go hit the sub button for Texans news and rumors all year long.